to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We're streaming on all social media platforms. So follow, like, subscribe, or share, or comment at Keys to the City. Or you can check out clovercrestmedia.com as well for other podcasts, murder mysteries, boxing, UFC included, and many more sports podcasts. Oh, Ted, are you getting jumpy over there with the hoopla? Look at you, peanut gallery. Ted's taking control. No, I'm just kidding around. But what a day. We are back. And Ted, you know, we usually like to do shows. See, we're learning from our history in the sense of we usually talk about shows. When we do our shows, we usually do a midday. Well, today would have mattered. It would have made no difference because of a historical standpoint, what happened in the NFL. And this is the past 2 days. If there's anything I could say about the NFL, it's what makes people love the NFL and it makes people get away from the NFL. But also, you got to feel unfortunate of the situation for Calvin Ridley. We'll talk about that. Was that punishment too severe from the NFL? We'll talk all about that. But today, Ted, I know you like your desserts, so we're going to talk about the historical standpoint for what this day meant for the NFL. Our first $50 million quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. 4 years, $200 million, re-signing, maybe shocking some people around the NFL world of going back to the Green Bay Packers, I should say, a team that we thought maybe we're looking to rebuild. Jordan Love, what does it mean for him? And then 1 hour later, Aaron Rodgers wanted to. I felt like Aaron Rodgers. It's amazing. Aaron Rodgers thinking like, oh, I'm going to get all the attention today. I'm going to make the historical decision to go back, get the $50 million, which he said he didn't really want. We knew that was a lie, I guess. And then Russell Wilson says, oh, Aaron, you are a funny, funny guy. So 1 hour later, we decide to make the huge news of the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks finally cutting ties with Russell Wilson. The AFC West, and the NFC will be impacted by this move for years to come, especially in that AFC West. Boy, oh boy, talk about great quarterbacks. Russell Wilson included in a 10-player / draft pick deal today. Historical, maybe as Colin Cowherd said, the biggest trade in NFL history. 3 players from the Denver Broncos, first-round picks, multiple first-round picks, multiple second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick included, going to Seattle. Seattle is trading Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick too. So to just think about this, guys, and what we've seen in the past 2 years and how the NFL, we talked about baseball last week, of how they don't want to, it feels like they want to be stubborn to make changes in the game, and why people have faltered from enjoying the game of baseball because of all these changes that they don't want to make. They feel that doesn't want to make the game better for baseball. But then you look at the NFL. The past couple of years, we have seen the all-in approach become a hit, become a success. And it's becoming, as we always like to say, a copycat league. Well, what has the history showed for us? The past 2 champions have gone all in. The Denver Broncos, are we going to see a three-peat in the sense of the all-in approach, Ted, with this move paying off? And I wanted to also get into the ultimate moves, both moves. Which move will pay off in the long run for both these guys and for both these franchises, Ted? Is it Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, or is it Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, the new look Denver Broncos?
Which move will pay off? It's both going to pay off. I believe it's going to pay off for both teams. Let's start with the Aaron Rodgers thing, because that's like been the biggest domino that's was needed to fall before anything else happened. And I think, Trev, you were saying before the show, and I was kind of putting some stuff together in my head and reading something. But you said you felt like these picks and everything that was done for Russell Wilson was already implemented for Rodgers. It was just a matter of, was he going to re-sign or not? And if not, he was probably going to go to Denver. Probably a similar deal. Yeah. I would assume so. I mean, I couldn't see Rodgers getting any much more than Russell Wilson, considering if you look at their careers, they're pretty similar.
Yeah, but Rodgers back-to-back MVPs.
Rodgers having back-to-back MVPs, 1 Super Bowl, even though Russell Wilson should actually have 2 Super Bowls.
Russell's always in the mix too for MVP.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: Russell's younger, right? He's more athletic, and he's a gamer. And you feel like when you look at Russell Wilson, he's more of a gamer in the bigger games than Rodgers is. Rodgers is like that ultimate regular season player, and then he just hasn't come up big in the postseason. Where Russell, I feel like I would take him in a bigger game. I just feel like there's something dynamic. Russell, maybe it's because I'm so stuck into the past where he was so dynamic when they were down like 21 points against Green Bay in the conference championship game, and they came all the way back. And of course, there was an onside kick and a bunch of stuff else that happened. But I think when you go back to the question, will it pay off for both teams? I believe it wholeheartedly. First, you, me, and Joe were talking beforehand.
Well, which do you think will pay off more in the long run? Is it Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay?
For me, it's not about the long run. It's about now. What you were about to get into.
Okay, so now.
But what was the all-in approach? Right? Yeah. So Green Bay making this move is an all-in approach. Who cares about Jordan Love? We know that's a waste of pick. That's we'll talk about that down the road. But this is you looking at the bigger picture. Tom Brady's gone. Russell's gone. All right. This is another better opportunity for Green Bay to dominate. I mean, you look at their division. Losing Aaron Rodgers, there's nothing good about losing Aaron Rodgers, okay? As much as you hate him, you think he's an idiot, a jerk, all other bad names that we can't say right now, or I won't say, he can be that. But at the end of the day, he's still a two-time MVP. He's still one of the best quarterbacks ever to play. You look at that division, it's garbage. You look at the conference right now, the conference is wide open. They should win the division easily. They should be the number one seed again. They should get home field again. They're going to bring back Devontae. They're making the moves for an all-in approach, and they're going to go for it. Russell, it works out for Denver because the way I look at it is the same move that they did when they brought Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was a little old. Peyton Manning was a little.
No, I'm not throwing up the peace sign. I'm just saying that's how many teams I think in the NFC right now have a legitimate chance. I'm not throwing the peace sign. I know this is the peace sign, but no, that's how many teams, Joe, in the NFC.
I thought he was giving me the countdown. 2.
No, I wasn't giving you 2. I wasn't giving you the bunny ears. I wasn't giving you the peace sign. No, this is how many teams to me. And I think realistically, a lot of people around the NFL, with the exception of some teams that may be on the cusp, but realistically, there's 2 teams in the NFC now. I know Seattle had a bad year last year.
But Trev, this works for Denver.
Hold on.
You didn't let me finish. All I was going to finish with this last point was it's an all-in approach that you were getting into when you asked me the question for Denver. It makes them a Super Bowl contender. Who cares about the draft picks? We love them because it's fun to talk about who's going to be the next big thing. But at the end of the day, they're unproven commodities. All right. We know of Russell Wilson. They have star talent. That puts them in the top 5 for the AFC, makes them a Super Bowl contender. And this is a move the Broncos have been waiting for since they lost Peyton Manning. And they made this move for the Colts when they knew Peyton Manning was coming off a neck surgery, and it paid out and got him a Super Bowl. Hopefully it'll pay out for Denver again.
Joe, so you see these moves. You see how the NFC has now, like I said, throwing up the peace sign because that's how much legitimate teams in the NFC right now with this move. It comes down to the Rams. It comes down to the Packers. With Russell going to Denver, good luck because that AFC is already star-struck and quarterback-driven that it just got that much more deeper.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think Green Bay keeping Aaron Rodgers is I knew he wasn't going anywhere. I said it all along he wasn't going anywhere, and why would he? So that made the most sense. And again, the like you just said, the path to another, to get to an NFC championship is there.
Mm-hmm.
As for Denver, I really kind of I understand people really like the offense there. The defense didn't play that great. Nobody had more than 7 sacks on that team. You're losing Noah Fant. That was your leading wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jeudy was a little banged up coming off a down year. Sutton didn't have a great year.
Yeah, but that's because of the lack of quarterback.
Look at Teddy Bridgewater's numbers, dude. I mean, he played pretty well.
Joe, you're comparing apples. You're comparing apples to steak.
How did Russ do this year? How did Russell Wilson do this year?
Joe,
how did he do this year?
He hurt his finger, was out a month, and then came back too early. And you could see the difference when he still had the broken finger, and his play was not as good. Listen, their talent is stacked. Javonte Williams at running back, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. They got elite talent on that offense line. The line is good. You watch that next year. MVP candidate look for him next year. It stacks the division. I think it uplifts Denver to a whole nother level because we've talked about this, Joe. If you don't have a quarterback or one of those elite guys, you have no chance. Now, listen, good luck going through the gauntlet of the AFC, though. Good luck.
Look, here's the thing. I just said it after the Super Bowl, post Super Bowl, that this AFC was going to, for you to win in this AFC specifically, not just this league, the AFC, you had to have an elite quarterback. Denver doesn't have that. Denver hasn't had that for some time. And Peyton Manning, yeah, they got Peyton Manning. That move ultimately paid off for a Super Bowl. This was a time that Denver knew was quarterback needy. They ultimately said this was our main need for the entire offseason. Everything else is secondary. We'll figure that out down the road. But our main objective was to find a quarterback because they know what this division is all about. You're playing against Patrick Mahomes. You're playing against Justin Herbert. And you're playing against Derek Carr, who all three quarterbacks are in the top 12 of this league. You're not winning with Teddy Bridgewater. You're not winning with Drew Lock. Anything less, you're still not winning. Any of these quarterbacks, or Jameis Winston, you probably could compete, but still, this is a talented team. You go get an elite level quarterback like Russell Wilson. That's what he is.
Well, he had 25 touchdowns.
This is a home run move, and
it's
a shocking move that it happened so fast right after the Aaron Rodgers deal that this day just shows why many fans and why it becomes just the premier sport in this country and why people are stuck to their phones because of moves like this, a historic day from the NFL perspective.
There's still a possibility the Broncos will come in last place in the AFC West this season.
That is
right now. They don't.
Hold on. But listen,
I didn't say they're gonna.
No,
I'm saying that there is a realistic possibility, Ted. As good as that division is, they might be 10-7.
Ted
finished fourth in that division. That's a really good division right there.
I agree with him 100% on that statement. That's a realistic statement. No, that's how realistic it is. I know it sounds so crazy, but you have to think of this division, bro. We were just talking about the NFC West, how great it was. I mean, you get Russell Wilson or you were going to get Aaron Rodgers. That division just became the premier division to watch. You're going to see the schedule next year, and I bet your ass that a lot of the Sunday night, Monday night games, or those primetime games, Fox or CBS, late Sunday games, will be that AFC West. The AFC West is going to get recognized.
Joe, and think about the rivalries. Denver versus the Raiders, the Chiefs versus the Raiders, the Chiefs in Denver. I mean, I know the Chargers are like the weird team in there, but that just,
but still, they got a guy like Justin Herbert who people want to watch. I mean, that's a division that realistically, Denver, yes, they got the talent, they got the quarterback now. They could easily be 10-7, 9-8, and miss the playoffs. That's because the Raiders. I know the Raiders. Everybody's like, "Oh, the Raiders." Well, the Raiders just made the playoffs. The Chargers didn't, but the Chargers have a bright future.
Quarterback-wise, this is the best division I've ever seen.
And the Chiefs are not going anywhere.
Quarterback division I've ever seen in my entire life.
And the Chiefs aren't going anywhere.
No.
So this division, you needed a quarterback. This was the only way for a Denver Bronco team to survive because they've been a 500 team. They've been right there. And they felt like, okay, well, we need to make the move. I don't care what it takes. We got to do it. They did it. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that was plan A. But plan B is sometimes a better option. And guess what? How about this? A good example. The Miami Dolphins. Maybe their plan A was Dante Culpepper. They took Dante Culpepper. Well, plan B could have been Drew Brees. And look how that turned out. They went plan A.
Drew Brees was their number A, if you remember, and they didn't pass his physical because
they didn't like
then Dante Culpepper was plan B, and how to work out for the Saints.
I
think Russell Wilson would be better than that.
Can I add a question here? If you're Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Tennessee, and you alluded to it before, Teddy, with Tennessee and 10-0, if you're those three teams, you got to do something.
Yeah, but
at the quarterback position
that's the thing, Joe. The desperation meter now for those quarterback needy teams include Washington. Who's available? I mean, Jameis Winston, do you think he's good enough? I mean, Deshaun Watson.
Dude, Jimmy Garoppolo is right now the most valuable thing you could have
If I'm San Francisco, I
Joe,
hold on to him, Joe,
not wrong.
until someone's like desperation where like they were only giving you a second.
Yeah, but don't you feel like this becomes that? With Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers both going on the same day, don't you
well,
feel
here's the
like
thing, there's limited there's limited quarterbacks. You know, hey, can I tell you something? Joe, I'm gonna say it. I heard it on a show. If I'm one of those teams, now I don't think he would ever go to a Tennessee or the Colts because I just don't think that's where he wants to be and his wife would want to be. I think San Francisco would be the ideal situation. But if I'm one of these teams,
he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
I'm calling TB12 and saying, bro, you just led the league in passing. You just had 50 touchdowns. What do we have to pay you? You want $51 million? You want that $1 million over Aaron Rodgers? You want it? You want to be legendary? We'll put you right now, 1-year deal, $51 million. We'll spread the money out. We'll give it in sign-in bonuses. We'll figure out how to get it. But if you're San Francisco, because you don't know what's going to happen with you don't know if Trey Lance is the right guy, right? You don't know that. There's an expectation he's got talent. If you're the Colts, you're like, I got a great defense, great offense line, a number one running back. I know I need another receiver, but Carson Wentz is garbage. If I'm the Titans, I'm going, I got all the pieces. Tannehill is actually pretty good. He beat really good competition, but is he good enough to beat a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow,
no. He didn't beat Joe
Wilson?
He didn't beat the Bengals when his team got 9 freaking sacks. I'm sorry. That's cut it. That's done. That's a done deal.
But that's why I'm saying that question out loud for people to think.
That's a handshake sealed and off to the Mayo. That's how gone that is.
I think the only way you get Tom Brady back is if you make Giselle the quarterback coach. I think if she's not on staff, I don't think you're getting that guy.
See, here's the thing: San Francisco was his boyhood team. Boyhood team. He was a Joe Montana huge fan. He's from the Bay Area. That's the only team I could see where he goes, I want to play with Kyle Shanahan. I got a good offensive line. I got a good running game. We can move some pieces around. Listen, is it worth it to reach out? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he could still say no, but you know what? Call again in a month. And then call again in a month because I'm telling you, once football starts coming around, things are going to change. And he might get that, your mouth starts watering, you start getting real hungry. It's like, hey, you never know.
So
real quick, too, if you're Green Bay, do you try to move Jordan Love?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Joe, he's in his third year. They're going to have to make a fifth-year quarterback option next year. What do you do with that? You're going to have to move him. You signed Rodgers for 4 years.
Yeah, what's his value?
Right now, here's the thing. You're going to look at me and think I'm crazy.
One game, and he looked awful.
Doesn't matter, though. Right now, you made the point before. There are so many teams in need of young quarterbacks.
That's the ultimate desperation.
Justin Fields doesn't work out this year, maybe call Jordan Love. If Daniel Jones doesn't work this year, maybe the Giants call for Jordan Love. Listen, teams are desperate. Maybe the Washington says, I'll give you a second-round pick for him. There is a desperation for quarterback play. You don't know if he's going to pan out. Let
me ask you this, Ted. How desperate are you going?
Dude,
Jordan Love is like, you're like at the brink of just drowning. Like, you're at the brink of just saying goodbye.
Hey, listen. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Someone might look at it. Here's the thing. You got to look at this. Imagine we're 3 different teams in the draft board, right? 2 years ago.
Are you serious?
You're the Giants. Joe's the Packers. And I'm like, I don't know, just say the Bengals, right? Or whoever it was. Doesn't matter. I'm just making up teams, right? Maybe you had him high on the board. Maybe Joe didn't have him high on the board. Maybe I had him on the board. It's like, oh, we couldn't take him then, but we can get him now, and we can get him for a lesser value. And we can see what we got for him for 2 years. And then you move on. I mean, Sam Darnold's still getting games. Daniel Jones is still getting games. Teams are desperate, Trev, to hit something out of the water.
How desperate do you have to be to go trade for Jordan Love right now?
Competition,
the Saints, the Panthers, the Commanders, the Lions, the Buccaneers. I can't read what I wrote there. The Seahawks, obviously. The Giants. I don't know what I wrote. Pittsburgh.
Miami.
Steelers. The Steelers. Pittsburgh. Those are teams that right now need a new starting quarterback.
Here's the thing.
And again, I would include Cleveland, Indianapolis, and Tennessee on that list. So yeah, and what's Jordan Love worth? I mean, if you would ask me yesterday, 5th round pick, 6th round pick, today, What are you willing to pay for that? Maybe he's worth a second-round pick to somebody. Listen, there's not a lot of options.
Here's the other thing.
And those teams are not in love with the guy that they have. Again, assuming somebody from Green Bay's in another front office who was fascinated by that kid. Again, his value could be high.
Did you guys correlate before the show or something? Like,
but here's the thing. It's teams are
Jordan. Oh my God.
The Commanders had Taylor Heineke, a guy who was bagging my groceries last week. All right, we're ready to put Daniel Jones.
Taylor Heineke over Jordan Love.
Listen, I know that, but I'm just saying someone sees talent in him. Trey Lance played one game in like the last 3 years, and he went in the third round because he saw talent. Jordan Love played
third round
or third pick. You know what I meant. You can correct me if you know I'm wrong. But Jordan Love showed talent. The reason why he was chosen in the first round. Someone on the draft board had him within that first round. Now, maybe a third round, maybe a fourth round, but you don't know. Here's the other thing. I know we're going to get on to the next subject. With the situation that happened in Atlanta, I know he has a humongous cap hit. But do you call the Atlanta Falcons now after what happened with Calvin Ridley and say, hey, what is Matt Ryan's value? If you're close, do you think Matt Ryan's better than freaking Taylor Heineke for the Washington Commanders? He's better than Tua. He's better than Carson Wentz.
He's Philip Rivers.
Guess what? He got the Colts to the playoffs and almost got him to the thing.
So you just want to get to the playoffs?
Listen,
okay, that's fine.
Matt Ryan. If you want Matt Ryan, hold on.
Well, no, not for nothing. If I'm in the NFC, yes, I just want to get to the playoffs because I can easily weasel my way into a Super Bowl.
You don't know. Rodgers choked. Rams falter. Something happens. Injury. You could get lucky. I mean, here's the thing. If you're Washington,
that's like having Kirk Cousins on your team.
No. Matt Ryan got to a Super Bowl, bro. He was an MVP.
Are we really going to bring that game? Are we really going to bring that game up?
It doesn't matter about what happened in the game. He got to the Super Bowl. He's been.
He was winning 28-3 in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. Not a lot of people can say they've done that.
Listen, and he's an MVP. He's listen. It wasn't his fault they totally lost. He didn't throw like 5 picks and fumble the ball and say, "Oh my God, it was your fault." That was a team effort.
You guys are nuts.
But I'm just saying, if I'm Washington, I'm going. Matt Ryan's better than him. Here's this: what if Matt Ryan did play for the Colts? He's got a solid offensive line with a solid running game.
Trevor, I don't know how this can be confusing you.
No, it's not confusing. It's not confusing. It's just like asinine. It's like just blasphemy. That's like you just traded for Carson Wentz. Is Matt Ryan better than Carson Wentz? Is he another level above Carson Wentz? No, I feel like they're the same exact level.
Matt Ryan's got a much longer resume, bud.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want Matt Ryan.
That is. Matt Ryan, 67 completion percentage, almost 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, with a quarterback rating of 91. Wasn't great, but here's the other thing.
It's Ryan Tannehill with no mobility.
You don't need mobility when you got the Colts offensive line. How about if you have the Steelers with Najee Harris and all the receivers, Deontay Johnson, and they have talent.
Matt Ryan is 5 years. Let's get back to guys more realistic, like a Deshaun Watson, like guys that can actually possibly win.
But here's the thing: there's no court stuff and not 27,000 allegations about him.
Pending the legal stuff, the Houston Texans. If you're the Houston Texans right now, you're sitting pretties saying, if this all holds up in court and nothing goes on with Deshaun Watson, yet we don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. But that's still say everything gets dropped or say nothing happens. His value, that Houston Texans, all the draft picks that they're going to, for a team that needs quarterbacks, Washington,
Here's the problem, and we've seen this in the past. Roger Goodell's an odd bird when it comes to some of this stuff, where they could drop the charges against Deshaun Watson, and all this goes away, and he could still get suspended for 8 games.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So again, I think you're really.
No, Joe, you're allowed to kick a
woman. No doubt Deshaun Watson's great. And in a league where obviously quarterback play
need to be exceptional.
It's invaluable.
You need to be exceptional.
The problem is the investment it takes on a risk like that is tough to justify if you're certain teams. I mean, if you're the Colts, how would you justify? We just got Carson Wentz. How would you justify going out and doing? You couldn't. You know?
First of all, you're not getting Deshaun because he's in the division. So
Yeah,
if Deshaun does go, he's going NFC. So what's the would Minnesota think about trading Kirk Cousins? Probably not, because they still have a winnable team. But if you're the Commanders, right, and you find out that Watson's only going to get suspended 4 games, he might be worth it. Might be worth multiple picks. Washington, you got
this just goes to show you that this will go down. This Jordan Love specific pick will go down as one of the greater blunders in NFL draft history, because of just where he went and the place he went and the position he went and the draft, and just an absolute questionable move that I still remember like talking about it the day after the draft, just still wondering, what in the F were the Green Bay Packers thinking that night, taking Jordan Love when you already have Aaron Rodgers, who is, well, now the back-to-back MVP? Like, and then you sign him.
But they did the same thing with Brett Favre.
I know, but this is just
fascinating. You want to
fascinating.
groom a guy. Why not do it?
I don't think this guy has the makings of it, Joe. And they just signed him to a 4-year, $200 million freaking deal. It's like,
well, here's the thing. Brett Favre was
not going to sniff. Jordan Love is not going to sniff the field unless Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Realistically, Ted.
Well, there's no reason to even keep that kid now, too. He was there to be developed under Aaron Rodgers. If I'm them, I would go out and I would get Colt McCoy or whatever veteran is available that can stand on the sideline. Maybe somebody Aaron Rodgers likes. Somebody he would want, standing on the sideline he could talk to, because he's a real giant baby. I could see where, you'd want to appease him with something like that. And I'm being serious, but Jordan Love no longer serves a purpose on the Green Bay Packers at all.
Yeah.
And again, in a league where maybe a team like Detroit, if like Teddy said, if somebody else valued him as potentially a first-round pick or even a second-round pick, I understand he got into one game, didn't go well. That doesn't usually.
But he has 2 years of experience now under his belt, under the best quarterback in the league, in a great system, in a great organization that knows how to run their program. So at least that benefits him. Now, we know the best part of being a player is on the field training. Hey, maybe they hold on to him till the preseason and you flip him after some team sees a bunch of preseason games, because Rodgers isn't going to play the preseason. Jordan Love will play all the preseason. And then someone desperately needs a quarterback. Someone gets hurt. Accidentally. Hey, we need Jordan Love. Here's a 3rd round, boom, for next year. Packers don't care about next year. Listen, this is about this year.
All I'm saying is, if you're a team like the Steelers, he's no better than a Mason Rudolph or a Dwayne Haskins at this point right now.
No, I go get Jameis.
I know that. I'm just saying, for a guy like that, if he becomes available, I don't see no purpose in seeing that he's an upgrade towards.
Listen, I would think Pittsburgh would
Jameis is more of an
Malik Willis, the rookie. And I'll say this: all these moves, what this does is watch out for the NFC teams in the draft. I think this helps all the other quarterbacks too.
This move definitely helps, Joe, the quarterbacks in the draft, and especially the teams like the Washington Commanders and even the Seattle Seahawks now, who got the 9th pick. Those are 2 teams that are going to be looking quarterbacks. So you're going to be having rookie quarterbacks next year starting.
I would move Jordan Love before the draft. Or
I don't even know what his value is.
Listen, it doesn't matter. If I can get an extra 3rd or a 4th round pick in this year's draft and add some piece of talent to another receiver or a big line, something, if I can add value to Aaron Rodgers today, I want to do that. If it's a 5th round pick, it's fine. It's one more pick. It's one more useful body I could bring in, because like you said, he's not going to sniff the field. What is the point of keeping his value? Isn't going to get any better.
It's going to go down.
It's only going to get worse from here. And again, now that the musical chairs have started, I would get in on this before it's too late. Because if Jimmy G gets moved, if some of the, if things are going to happen, if Deshaun Watson gets moved, every time another team's wish list is fulfilled, the value on Jordan Love sinks further. I think now again, to me, I think Jimmy Garoppolo, if you're the Niners, you're on the horn with everybody.
I think
let somebody blow you away. Let somebody blow you away and roll the dice with Trey Lance next year.
I think all in all, these moves that have happened have been major impacts for just not just these two franchises, but I feel like majority of this league has been impacted because of the sense of this AFC just becomes that much more difficult for somebody to come out next year. The NFC becomes that much more premier of two top alpha dogs. And then you look at the quarterback market now, the teams that are on the cusp of looking for a quarterback, that level of desperation / need becomes that much more greater with moves like this now.
Would I be wrong to say
yes,
that Jimmy Garoppolo cannot possibly have any more value than he does right this minute today?
I think his greatest impact.
Hold on, let me.
The reason why I say you're wrong
for a second.
The reason why I say you're wrong is
let him finish. Let him finish.
Shoulder surgery, and he won't be available for 4 months. So if I'm a team, I want to know his medical because first of all, you knew he didn't have a strong arm anyways. How is his arm going to be? I don't want to give up too much value yet until I totally know that his shoulder is fully repaired.
Well, he's going for at least the third or fourth round.
Listen, here's the thing about Jimmy Garoppolo. This is a guy who's taken the Niners to a Super Bowl. They still don't believe in him. He's obviously always banged up. There's a million reasons to dislike Jimmy G. Interceptions in the clutchest of moments. There's a lot of reasons to not like this guy. Clearly, the Niners have never really been in love with him, and I get it. But he just took you to the cusp of a Super Bowl again. I don't see Jimmy G would have to win the friggin' Super Bowl next year to increase his value any more than right now.
I think his value is very high right now, too.
Well,
it's off to if he plays next year, if you're only going to lose value on Jimmy G next year, unless he wins him a Super Bowl next year, in which case, why would you want to move that guy?
Let me finish this point of this whole quarterback historical day from all the quarterback standpoint. In the sense of not even just Jimmy G, I think the guys like Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston, just a couple of the names that their names, and I'm not putting Deshaun Watson into discussion yet because we still don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson and his legal situation. So we're going to put him on hold as of currently today. So let's just talk about those three guys. And since my last thing, their level becomes that much more higher. Like they were probably on the wish list, 3, 4 that they become so much more valuable for those teams that like Washington or teams like the Colts that are looking for a quarterback. They become that much more like, okay, these guys might be the only realistic options now at this point. And with these two moves happening on the same day within an hour time frame, that's all I'm trying to say is that these quarterbacks, you look at this AFC now. I mean, we said at the end of the season, good luck trying to, if you're not one of those teams, well, add the Denver Broncos to this list because right now they're a legitimate team that can be in the Super Bowl next year. And for the Green Bay Packers, well, guess what? Your excuses are thrown out the window. Just if you don't win next year, just don't even show up the following year because there's no excuse anymore. Go get Aaron Rodgers some help, though. Go get him a receiver. Add something so we don't have to hear any more of the naysayers who want to say, oh, well, he had this wrong or something wrong, or give him more excuses. We want to see a full, healthy Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packer team. I'm done.
I like Russell Wilson, but if you put a gun to my head and ask me what the AFC West looks like as of right now, today, 6 months from opening day, I still have Denver as the fourth team in that division.
I'm going at least 3.
I hate to say it.
I'll go 2.
I'll tell you what, too, dude. I mean, again, think about where the Raiders finished and I get it. The massive amount of adversity that team went through and how much different things might have been if those things hadn't happened for that team. And if that were the case, I think you would have a really hard argument to try to tell me that team's better than those other 3.
Ted, finish up.
No, listen, I mean, there's so much more to go on in the league. Listen, this is what makes the NFL so exciting. This is where baseball misses its calling. I mean, they're not going to get a decision done again for another Tuesday, which means another week of baseball canceled. I mean, you think about where NBA is, right? We think of where football is. Football has a hard cap, right? NBA has like a flexible cap, but they still have a cap. But James Harden's going to make $50 million, right? Like guys are still making big money in cap leaves. Aaron Rodgers for a $50 million man. Then you got baseball guys. They're complaining and trying to figure out stuff, but they have no cap. It's just baseball missing its calling, whatever. This is why baseball loses the focus, because people like interchanging things. We like moves. We like these things. We like when Ben Simmons gets traded for James Harden. We like it. It's interesting. And especially because the Nets stink. They were supposed to be the top team with the Lakers. The Lakers things, what's going on? There's so much stuff that we can talk about right now with basketball and other stuff that baseball is just losing all its mojo. It's got nothing. And eventually you get to a point where people are going to say, I don't care. I don't care. I'm just going to watch the USFL, and golf's coming on, and the Masters and other things. And like Joe said last week, there's things going on in life. COVID is over. Enough of the nonsense. We can go out and party and have a good time, and they don't have to worry about sitting in our basements, hide from the world. All right.
COVID's over.
So,
you heard it here first, folks.
It's nonsense, Joe.
Yo, get that. We're now talking about
the AFC is so stacked. I don't think it's incredible, because it used to be owned by 3 quarterbacks, Manning, Roethlisberger, and Brady. And now there's good luck. Try to rank the quarterbacks in the NFC West. Right?
We'll do that. We'll do that down the line.
I know we'll do that, but I'm just saying, then you think about the AFC. So good luck with that gauntlet. What other moves get moved? The NFC is wide open. Like Joe said, and I was saying before, if I'm the Washington Commanders, right, and I think my team is right there, this is what I said about the Eagles. You have 3 draft picks. I know people are going, I'm going to ride with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not going to get you to the Super Bowl, bro. He's not getting you to get you to the playoffs. That's nice. That's a pat on the back, a little cherry ice cream, but that's it. There's no whipped cream. There's no strawberries. There's no extra. He's not good enough to get you over the top. That's where, like Joe said.
Joe,
here's the other thing. The NFC South is garbage now. There's no Breeze. There's no Brady. If I'm an NFC team and I'm like San Francisco, or I'm calling for Brady, bro. Brady's the best prospect out on the market right now.
You have one more thing. What are you going to say?
It's days like today that make those mock drafts seem so stupid. Because, there's so much time between now and the draft, and the free agency hasn't even started yet.
Well, that's the thing. The free agency, because you got to know where the team's money is and where it's going to be voided. You got to see the franchise tags. Listen, Green Bay's bought.
Just found out what the cap was yesterday.
Green Bay, you got to be happy. If you're a Green Bay fan, at the end of the day, you're ecstatic because you bring back the 2-time MVP and you bring back the best receiver in football in Devontae Adams. That's the most important thing. That's what you have to be thrilled about. You know your division stinks. You're going to win the division easily. You have the better team. They'll find a way to make it all work. But like Trev, you said, they got to get a number 2. I think a perfect fit would be Amari Cooper.
Well, we'll see what happens.
In the number 2, but I just wonder what type of money he would be. Another team I think Amari Cooper would be a great fit with, because of the route running and what he can do, would be the New England Patriots. They need a number 1, Belichick type of guy. You put a number 1. He's a very great route runner.
Let's talk about this down the line.
I'm just saying,
he's excited.
That's already he was real
excited. Fired up.
Yeah, he's talking about already he's already predicted the offseason. We got a whole offseason.
Oh yeah. This is why if I'm the Giants, I look at this opportunity as you got a full rebuild. Full rebuild, man. Like, take advantage. See if anyone wants Daniel Jones. What can we get for him?
God.
What can we get for Saquon? Give me everything. Let's go. We'll start scratch. Rip the whole house apart and just keep the frames up and rebuild it.
Here's a prediction: at least 3 more quarterback moves before the draft.
Okay.
Yeah, Jameis Winston will get signed. Jimmy G will get signed.
But Jimmy G and Carson Wentz will swap. Yeah,
I think this is going to be like we've seen the last couple off seasons. I think you're going to see a lot of quarterbacks on.
And we just keep saying year in and year out that the NFL continues to just amaze us.
I just want to know where Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to play next year.
A historical day from a standpoint.
Somebody's going to. Teddy, here's the best part about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Whenever the musical chairs stop, there's always one team that doesn't have a quarterback, and that's where Ryan Fitzpatrick goes. It's just how this works. It's the NFL.
That man has made, it's like Sam Bradford. That man has made a killing.
But that's why guys like Matt Ryan, veteran guys, Carson Wentz still has value. If I'm the Colts, why really move on from the Carson Wentz now?
It's
who am I
today's
going to
days.
get better?
Like I said, today's the days why I love being an NFL and a football fan, because of moves like today and historical standpoint, money wise, and for trade purposes. This was why the NFL is top dog in the country of America. But also, we have to talk about there's always fantastic news, shocking news, but there's unfortunate news. And yesterday is an example of that with the situation that happened to Calvin Ridley. And the moment I saw that, I was said, wow, that's a serious, serious punishment, Joe. I know, look what he did. You shouldn't be betting games as an NFL player. You know the rules. You break the rules, you got to get punished. But to see him get a full year, and for guys that have been punished by the NFL and suspended in the past, but have been suspended for less games, but for worse actions, that speaks volumes to. I mean, I know what he did. He did was wrong. He should be suspended. I don't think he should be suspended for the entire season of next year. That's just my whole take on this Calvin Ridley. It's unfortunate because you know the rules, man. It's in the contract. You know what you can't do. You can't be breaking those rules. You broke the rules. You should get punished. But to the extent that he got, I'm not for it. Well,
listen, I've lost more money than Calvin Ridley has.
Lost $1,500. I know to lose 11.1.
Listen,
million.
What he really wants was 11 million.
Let Joe go. Let go, Joe.
I was saying he lost $11 million for $1,500. It was the worst over/under bet ever.
Absolutely, it was. Look, here's the thing. Let's be clear about this. This isn't a 1-year suspension. This is the NFL doesn't. This is a lifetime ban, and he's going to have to. You've seen this with Josh Gordon. You got to apply for reinstatement every year in order to get back in. Yep. So this might be more than a 1-year suspension. It's a minimum. It looks like 1-year suspension. The thing I find disturbing about this is, I mean, this guy's obviously, took some time away from mental health issues. And I feel like, this might have been sort of part of him kind of losing it a little bit and doing something stupid. Again, it is, here's the thing, and you could easily argue, Trevor. I mean, Ray Lewis kind of stabbed someone a little bit. It's not murder. He's cool. The amount that Calvin Ridley's gambling doesn't matter. The fact that he bet on his team that's a no. Everybody knows that.
They bet him to win.
You know how he got caught, right? You guys know how he got caught, right?
Cell phone.
Yeah. All right. Hold on.
He went into the Hard Rock Casino in Florida, and when you're out of state, they have. I think it's in Utah, Fort Lauderdale. So when you go to the Hard Rock Hotel, when you go out of state and you gamble, the NFL has an app that tells. He literally put the bet in with his own name. He put in 3 bets. What an idiot! He put a 3-team, a 5-team, and an 18-team parlay. All right. When he put it in through the app, it triggers. There's this called Genius City something. I was reading about it. It triggers like whatever the NFL. So the NFL has something that oversees any bets that come through. Like, so it's like if Aaron Judge went into a New York casino and put a bet in for the Yankees, it would trigger. It would set off a red alarm. Well, that's how it got triggered. So I could have put the bet in for him. He could have put it in anything else. If he did it in Georgia, he would have been fine because he was in state, but because he's out of state, there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's just stupid. $1,500 bet. You put it on teams. You know the rules. I think it's stupid they got suspended for a year considering Kareem Hunt's kicking women, Ray Lewis is stabbing people. There's so many offenses that have gone on for such less things, but you know the rules, right? We can't always put the same thing like, hey, he beat a girl, so he should. We know it. It is what it is. But you know the rules. That's like the unwritten rule, though, of every sport. You can't gamble. I mean, Pete Rose has been out of the Hall of Fame for how many years? 34 years.
He's not going to go in.
And Trevor, so Pete Rose only bet on the Reds to win.
Yeah. So did Ridley.
But here's the problem with that.
He was the manager, which can dictate how the team wins.
Yeah. Right. And so, and because again, if you've never read the book, by the way, Pete Rose, My Own Prison, it's an absolutely outstanding book. And I highly recommend it to anybody that likes baseball. And if you want to understand the Pete Rose story, all Pete had to do was say that it was wrong to do that. And he refuses to do that. That's what's holding Pete Rose back from being reinstated in baseball. It's as simple as that. They've told him that. He says it in the book. And he refuses. He doesn't see there being anything wrong with betting on the team to win. But I'll bet you those days that you ran Dibble and Charlton and Randy Myers out there on those games, right? But what about the games you didn't bet in? Who pitched the 7th? Bill Robinson? You know what I mean? And I don't think Pete really understands that, days where Mario Soto was on the mound, yeah, we're betting on a team today and on games. So you're using insider information. It's wrong when politicians do it. It's wrong when businessmen do it.
But here's the thing: business guys do this on the stock market every single day. It's different for the football thing, and what makes it worse is now because the NFL, the baseball league, the hockey league, the basketball, every other is so embedded with gambling that it's almost laughable. Because like you're putting sponsors, like you got DraftKings, FanDuel. You're literally talking about the most bet sport in America, maybe in the world. And you flag a guy for 1,500. So I've just got the information.
Well, hold on. Teddy, you have to. This is a guy making $10 million a year. So I know it sucks that he can't gamble on sports, but he doesn't need to.
Well, I mean, he could gamble.
He could probably go out to an island somewhere, hunt a human for cash. And mounted on the wall in his mansion, and you would never know about that. That's the kind of money this guy has. So, look, it's unfortunate, but there's an integrity to the sport.
Joe, is the punishment fair?
It's not for me to say.
Honestly.
It's not for me to say, but yeah, I mean, like
I
said, the money amount doesn't matter. You cannot allow this to happen. If one guy does it and you slap him on the wrist, you're going to see more guys doing it.
As a fan of the game.
Because here's the thing. You go back to the Miami coach who the owner was trying to pay to make fans think. Here's the thing. Calvin Ridley, how'd he get bested? He was in Florida.
If that story's then
hold on. The only gambling app legal in the state of Florida. The app notified a compliance company the NFL has hired called Genius for this kind of thing. He was out of state in the factor of Ridley's activity being flagged. So he used the only gambling app that's allowed in the state of Florida. It triggered a thing. He was out of state. That's what got him caught.
He screwed up.
That might also potentially affect his thing that he only did this. This is the only time he ever placed a bet. No, this is the only time you got caught by Genius outside of the jurisdiction you're supposed to be in. So I'm sure they're going to investigate further. And so again, it's possible the NFL's already aware of other bets that Ridley's made. Maybe they were bigger. So let the whole story come out here. You can't allow guys to bet. There's already always that sense that this could be a little bit rigged. There might be more at play to this. You're in bed with these gambling sites. I can't even believe that these leagues are doing that. I'll tell you, I'm stunned by that.
Did you see who the face of gambling is now, Joe?
You're going to bitch about integrity. You're going to suspend Tom Brady for 4 games because the ball was a little flat. But you've got, I mean, come on with this.
Yo, did you see who the gambling put as the face of gambling?
No.
Connor McDavid. He's the head guy for gambling. They made him the head sponsor for the gambling. Was reported the other day. So
interesting.
I mean, Ted, do you think they got it right?
Listen, it is what it is, bro. I don't make the rules. You know the rules. They have it all over the damn thing. You knew about it for 1,000 years. You know you're not supposed to gamble. But, I love what Marcus Spears said last night on ESPN. Listen, all this is phony. Don't tell me the guys ain't betting in the league. They're just not getting caught. It's like when I'm speeding down the highway.
Of course, we all know that.
Again, right, this is more about
Joe,
the league pretending it cares about integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. Dude, I mean, Michael Jordan was betting 60, 70,000 bucks on guys. That's a gambling problem.
There's
got to be more guys like that in the league. Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's rampant. Again, this was if you get caught, you're gonna get slapped really hard.
Well, Joe, here's the thing. We joked about this. I think we used this one time on one of the shows years ago when you and me and Trevor doing. I think you even referenced. I could go 100 miles an hour on the highway tonight. Don't get caught, I'm good. I do 100 miles an hour on the highway and get caught, get my license revoked, I get a $500 ticket, I report to court. So same metaphor. I know apples and orange, but the same metaphor. Just don't get caught. That's the biggest thing. Don't get caught. He got caught. He was stupid. He wasn't using his thing. I mean, listen, if you're going to gamble away, but you just cost yourself $11 million. You cost yourself wherever you were going to get traded, which could have been a bigger contract. That's why
it's a bigger deal.
The Falcons knew about this on February 7th. I was reading about. They knew this for the past month, but they didn't put any reports out, and they didn't trade them because they knew this stuff was coming out, and they were working with the NFL.
I respect
that. A thorough investigation, but that's why I brought back before. If I'm Atlanta now, I got no value with Calvin Ridley. I got no offense. My defense stinks. Matt Ryan's a $48 million salary cap hit. What do I do with Matt Ryan? I try to flip
they're going to go draft a receiver now. I mean, your need for the Atlanta Falcons becomes
I'm flipping Matt Ryan for draft picks, bro, because
good luck.
You would get minimal 3 picks. You could get a first, a second, and a third.
Good luck somebody trying to get that contract.
If I was Washington, I would take
Denver's
him in
going to give
a
him a new
heartbeat.
contract.
That contract is ridiculous.
You give them an extension and you make it a sign-in bonus, and you can defer the money over the years, just like the Packers.
They take a cap.
The other thing, Russell wants to get paid too.
I know. I'm talking about Matt Ryan. He takes a cap. If they ever traded him, it's a cap hit of like $47 million.
I don't think it's that much.
Anyway, what's the difference?
It's still huge. That's still
you can figure out how to defer the money. Don't worry about it.
You only get hit once.
I mean, like I just said, these 2 days have been roller coaster of emotions for the NFL fans. I mean, you got fans that are in a joyous mood. You got fans that are just in sorrow. And this is what the NFL does. This is a business. This is how it plays out. It's just a fascinating play out for the rest of this offseason. We're going to be back talking combine. We're going to be the draft now. The combine is over. We'll be starting to talk about putting out mock drafts now, Joe, since we waited for quarterbacks to get traded. So we waited. So we played it smart. We're going to be doing mock drafts, and then we're going to be talking more and more NFL because this is just the beginning. I say it all the time, and it's just a continuation. It's a copycat league. Well, it's happening again, ladies and gentlemen. The all-in approach, Joe, has worked out. And, it's worked so far. Let's see if third time's a charm.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see more of it. I think leading up to the draft, I think you are going to see a lot more teams with that approach where my quarterback's not good enough and the next available best guy is the one that you're going to have to go out there and get. And just on one more, to sort of build off Ted's analogy with the gambling, this is like baseball with the steroid thing. I mean, they knew what was going on, and it was a matter of don't get caught. Yeah. I mean, they let these guys know a year ahead of time, we're going to start testing on Thursdays in the morning. You know what I mean? And so again, this is all more for show than anything else, and it's unfortunate that story would dampen, I think, what is otherwise, like you said,
they have to make an example of football. They make an example for him.
Yep. You really do. And again, but I feel like on the record, it's you can't do that. But I think within the house, like you said, Teddy, it's don't screw this up for everybody else.
He's the
don't get caught.
He's the one that he's got to be the.
You can do it. You can do it, but don't do it. Don't say anything. Keep quiet. That's what they do. Well, Calvin Ridley got caught, and Joe, you said it. Today was a very, very historical day for the NFL. Money purposes and trade purposes. 2 quarterbacks, one staying home, one's moving on, and to a new change of scenery and a new start for Russell Wilson. My God, I can't believe it. 3 straight years. Tom Brady's gone from the Patriots, Matthew Stafford from the Lions, and now Russell Wilson. Damn. It's just crazy to see that the NFL is like going in an NBA direction where all these big name players are going to new faces and to new places. It's crazy. Can't wait to see how the rest of this offseason plays out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys to the City. We are streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So comment, like, subscribe, or share, or follow, or check out clovercrestmedia.com for many more podcasts, or if you're trying to get involved with this field. Ladies and gentlemen, Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.